Hi everyone, welcome to One Kind House, One Kind Show. With me is our good friend Yan Folan.
Thank you. Welcome everyone, and thank you for having me here. It's so yes, I am Yan. I am architect. I've been living in Singapore for 10.5 years, and I run my own company that is based in Singapore and in Paris as well. The name is Wito, or in English Y2. There are things that I would like to talk about, indeed, that are focusing more on design for people.
Okay, so is an architecture in the first place designed for the people? If it's not designed for the people, then who is it for?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's of course architecture is supposed to be for the people. The thing is, we live now in a world where most of the population lives in urban areas, and so that's why we need to develop quick buildings, cheap as well, and to house a maximum of inhabitants inside. But at some point we tend to forget who will be truly utilizing the spaces. It's not just a number. It's not that we need to build towers of 50, 70, 100 story high to put a maximum of people, but who are the users? And
right.
It's even more critical in Southeast Asia, where we have extreme rapid urbanization, because we have a growth of population that is intense as opposed to European countries, for example. And so when we think of Southeast Asia, we think usually of those tropical environment, beach and palm trees and so on, this very exotic environment. But we shouldn't forget that we have millions of people living in urban areas. We are facing rapid aging as well.
Right.
And so what do we do for them?
Right.
What are the different facilities that are designed for them, whether it is in the houses or in the different places where they live, or whether it is in the streets, and how can they move, mobility also for them.
That also influences healthcare. Because
Yes.
how do you now, with technology now, how do you treat them? And with the rapid spacing, everyone can't just go to a hospital. The treatment needs to move out into the community as well.
Kotek Poit Hospital, for
Right.
example.
Right.
It's a hospital,
Right.
but on the rooftop of the hospital, there is this urban farming,
Right.
and that are welcoming daily people living in the surrounding areas.
So they're not
neighborhood.
patients.
They are not patients.
Right.
They are going there on the rooftop to grow vegetable and all sort of element there. After, when they harvest them, they are selling them twice a week in the hospital, for the people who live around, but also providing that to some patient within the hospital. So they have been monitoring also the elderly to see if they were more prone to dementia,
Right.
or really aging and so on. And actually it helps the older generation to feel better, to feel healthier, and that's something that should be developed further, and not just at one location in Singapore.
So how do you scale it up, right? What does one way? The other thing was, I did see research on therapeutic horticulture. It's very hard to pronounce with this.
Yeah.
It does bring down those levels of depression and also gives the elderly dignity and purpose. You were telling me the story about not just farming it.
Yeah.
Their greatest kick is when they sell it.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem, right? Yeah.
For example, we are doing a project in France. The name of the project is Arborescence. So
Right.
for my French pronunciation, because it's a French for arborescence,
Right.
which is this process of becoming a tree. And so we designed that building, which is for the elderly, and so it looks like a tree indeed, and it's full of vegetation all around. And the whole idea here is to have a circular economy,
Right.
where basically you are eligible for a unit there, you sign a chart, and then you contribute to the community, you contribute to the society. You will be growing basically food like vegetable and so on. And then when you harvest that, you can sell it in a mini mart
Right.
that is within the building. There is also a kind of cafeteria, a cafe, where the elderly can work inside, and so they can be in contact with other generations.
Yes, exactly.
And at the same time, within this building, we also have co-working space, we have co-living as well.
Right.
We have a kindergarten and some facilities that are shared. People think that, but if I need to do something for the elderly, if I need to have some facilities, this is expensive. But if you combine that with another kind of program like a kindergarten, and if you need a small swimming pool for the elderly to exercise, that small swimming pool can also be used
Correct.
by the kindergarten.
So the elderly will also be partaking in part of the kindergarten kind of program, which is great because then you also, for community, you want the young kids to be in contact with some tradition, the past, and you don't lose the stories. And I mean, for the elderly, they would love talking to kids, especially if it's not theirs. They don't have to clean them. They just talk to them. Okay, give you back. Yeah.
And we do have like an older generation that has a very strong set of skills in, like, for example, carpentry. You do have younger generation that want to learn from that, and they might not have necessarily the resources to go in a school, to pay for a school. So here we have a population that is in need, that cannot have access to a certain level of education, and we do have another part of the population that can no longer work because they are too old. Can we provide a platform where they can be combined, and to have some sort of workshop, for example, where an older generation will be able to transmit a certain knowledge on how to, I don't know, do a table, for example. So
exactly.
things that anyway will be needing.